are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast. I'm doing everything on Twitter. Here talking this Auburn athletic news. As you know, I apologize for my week-long absence. I was in the state of West Virginia visiting family, and the goal was to record an episode for not to miss a day. But I found it very hard to balance out seeing family I haven't seen in a while, and also finding time to record. So I do try to enjoy most of it. But of course, I am back right now. And it might be a little bit of a rant episode, I must say. I am annoyed. I've been an Auburn fan my entire life. And in the podcasting industry and in this industry that I am in with the sports reporting side of things, it's beneficial to be unbiased to a certain extent. But as a long-time Auburn fan, I've been an Auburn fan since since I gained consciousness at around 4 years old. I'm sure I've been an Auburn fan long before that too. I have felt there's a massive difference into how I see Auburn football now and how I saw it back then. Auburn right now is in a bit of a slump in the recruiting aspect of the class of 2026. Right now, Auburn only has 6 commits in that class. And, you lost 2 this week. Shadarius Tootle flipped his commitment from Auburn to Georgia. Devin Carter, Auburn original flip from Florida State, flipped to Auburn, then has now flipped back to Florida State. Now, what has this done for recruiting? Well, Auburn's already seen a few decommitments from this class, and it has kind of shaken me to the core, kind of see where this class has started off at and where it's now at. I remember a little over a year ago talking about how this class had started off very strong and, Auburn could push for the number 1 spot in this class. And now, flash forward to right now, Auburn currently stands as 83rd in the country per 24/7, as well as 16th in the SEC out of 16 teams. With that, I mean, Auburn does have some a good hold on their commits they do have. They did just add a new guy from New Zealand. I'm going to say his name in just a second, and I'm going to get it wrong, so let me know. Sorry, I've got some indigestion going on, so I apologize for that. It probably does not sound very good in the microphone. But the annoying part is you get into a season now that, everything is on the line for Auburn in more than one way, because you've bolstered 3 really good recruiting classes, and you have guys who, were a part of that inaugural season under Coach Freeze and are now going into what could be a year where they get to prove themselves as NFL caliber players and guys like Keldrick Falk. But the real annoying part is about those players is you're kind of you've watched a stymie happen in the production on the field. And now, as we've gone into 2 back-to-back losing seasons under Coach Hugh Freeze, and you go into however many losing seasons in a row for Auburn, you feel as if the recruits that you're hoping can come in and help you not only build your program up, but you're wanting it to build that program to stabilize it at the top. You have guys that are 4-star, 5-star caliber players who, look at Auburn and they're like, well, you're talking to me good, but I'm not seeing it on the field. Yeah, well, the NIL sounds great, but I want to be part of a winning football team. And, whether or not Devin Carter, losing him to Florida State, I mean, I don't really know I guess the 2 seasons ago kind of weighs heavy on what Florida State can do under Mike Norvell. Last season, they won 2 games. So now you're going into this year with Auburn, and, it really does suck to watch these guys kind of come to terms with the fact that Auburn has not been a good program since I want to say 2019, or at least the early stages of that 2021 season. You've not seen a good Auburn football team in a while. And recruits are starting to get that picture. And one thing that I do hate is I don't really know if it's like the message boards or what it is. Every time I see a guy decommit from Auburn or flip his commitment or whatever, the one thing I do hear all the time is the "we backed off" storyline. And sure, that works to a certain extent. I do think there are a lot of times where Auburn does kind of, hey, we got you originally, but we're kind of wanting to go a different way, so on and so forth. That works. But whenever I hear that same, at this point, excuse for every single decommit, it gets tiresome because at some point you're just losing the battle. At some point, the other coaches are just better at recruiting that player than you are. So if it's Shadarius Tootle, if that's the "we backed off," it's hard for me to believe that whenever it's Kirby Smart and he's like, "Hey, well, we know we just won the SEC. We can make it back to the playoffs very easily this year," as opposed to hey, we're recruiting very well over here at Auburn, and we just need some extra pieces to help us make a bowl game. So that's the issue I've seen thus far with Auburn, and it's so annoying as a top 15 program all time to kind of watch Auburn struggle this way recruiting for the class 2026. It truly is horrendous to watch. And again, as someone who talks about Auburn all the time and Auburn fan, Auburn podcaster, it gets tiresome as someone who's also chronically online, and you had to sit there and listen to every single fan base and their mother point and laugh at Auburn. I don't think this season is going to be terrible. I've lived and died by the 8-4 record, and I know a lot of people are kind of low on Auburn going into this year. I feel like I'm probably one of the guys who are higher up on Auburn. I feel like there's probably a lot of people that are high on Auburn this year. But they're a team to watch out for if you're a team on the cusp, because Auburn does have 3 good recruiting classes that can play together to be a good football team, get those 8 wins, get 8+ wins at that, beat a team like Alabama, beat a team like A&M or just any Oklahoma, the Baylor, those teams on their schedule that, probably the games that were lost last year should be wins this year for the most part. Those are the games Auburn needs to win this year. And it's not because I'm predicting them to, it's because good Lord, Auburn, do or die situation recruiting wise, because once you lose that 23 class, I mean, the 24s and the 25s, I mean, if things have plateaued at 6 wins, 7 wins, what's going to stop a guy, one of those guys that you just brought in, from hitting the portal right away? And not just the guys who, you kind of just picked up at the end of the recruiting cycle, or guys that, you brought in to be those depth pieces. I'm talking about guys you brought in to be the stars of your program throughout the next few years that you're planning on being the football coach. And even then, I don't know if it's fully possible for Auburn to, I think Hugh Freeze can win 7 games this season and not get fired. I think anything less than 7 is like out the door. I think 7-5, I mean, you just go into the next year and you're like, well, here's the thing. You're on the hot seat. You have to win more games than 7 if you want to keep your job going to the following year. And I mean, even think guys like Shane Beamer, who took that, they needed that extra year. They needed they just needed a little bit more time to build those programs. But the difference between Shane Beamer and any head coach at Auburn, South Carolina is not a program that is built around winning or being one of those teams that are in the national spotlight. Because whenever South Carolina is in that spotlight, it's a magical moment. You go back to like 2010 with that Steven Garcia team that, made the SEC championship. Probably would have been in the national, could have been in that, I don't think national championship, but as a team that played against Cam Newton in the SEC championship game. You go a few years further, you have the Javion Clowney years, and then nothing from South Carolina for the longest time. You get through the end of Spurrier, you go into Will Muschamp, and now you're at Shane Beamer, and things are looking up. But you don't really know if South Carolina has what it takes to maintain that. They have who most consider, including myself, to be the best quarterback in the SEC, and Lenora Sellers going into this year. That could just as easily fall apart, and South Carolina could be right back to where they were. And it'll just be hey, remember when South Carolina was like a playoff team? That's just what that is. Auburn is a team is not like South Carolina. They are a team where you kind of you're like, well, dang, what's going on in Auburn? Whenever they're having 6-win seasons, and you just reminisce on when Auburn was the team that they're supposed to be. 2010, 13, 17. I'll go and say 14, 2019. Those 2010s that weigh heavy on Auburn because that's what Auburn is supposed to be year in and year out. They are a team that is in the national spotlight. They are a team that can periodically take down the top Bama teams. When it comes down to it, they can take down Georgia. But now since 2020 season, and you fired Gus Malzahn, you have that collapse of a cut coaching situation those 2 years. And Hugh Freeze brings in hope with a lot of things, just rebuilding programs and recruiting well. And I don't know how much of this has to do with like NIL and how the recruiting kind of the landscape has changed because the rules keep changing. But with Auburn being 83 in the country, it is embarrassing. And excuses can only get you so far. I'll believe that we backed off for some recruits, but you cannot tell me that every single recruit Auburn loses that Auburn just backed off of. Auburn does not have the leeway anymore that they used to have with a lot of these. Even Mike Norvell right now, they went 2-10. He still has more to promise than Auburn does right now because at least he's been to the ACC championship in the past 2 seasons. He's been a borderline playoff team in the past 2 seasons. Auburn has not been a borderline playoff team since 2017. Auburn has not been in the SEC championship conversation since 2017. So Auburn does not have the leeway right now in recruiting, and it's just embarrassing. I had to get that off my chest. It was something that the Thursday show didn't happen. And that's when Shadarius Tootle decommitted, and then the Devin Carter decommit happened, and it was just a rough weekend for Auburn recruiting. But on the bright side, you did pick up a very talented offensive tackle, and I'm going to butcher his name. He is from New Zealand. He is from the NFL Academy. Nakau Hepi. If I said it wrong, I know I did. 3-star out of this 2026 class. 6'7", 370-pound tackle at that. Very talented guy and athletic too. Played rugby. So that's a good pickup. But everyone knows 3 stars are the building blocks to programs, but those blue chips are what Auburn is going to have to recruit if they want to maintain a winning program. They're already in the process trying to establish one, but if you want to maintain one, you got to have those blue chips. And I mean, it's no secret. You don't. It's like every team needs to have 4 and 5 stars to win championships. And look at Ohio State last year. They have all the blue chips in the world. Michigan always has blue chips. Georgia, Bama, Clemson, all of those teams are able to recruit those 4 and 5 star caliber players that will build you a winning program. Right now, Auburn has 1 in their recruiting class, and they have lost a couple this recruiting cycle. Auburn, I think at one point, this 2026 class, it was early stages of this class, was number 1 in the country. And when teams start recruiting in, you probably wouldn't expect Auburn to stay right there. But going from 1 to 83 in a year, It's sad and it's embarrassing as an Auburn fan. And hopefully things turn around, but a lot of it has to do with the fact that you need to go out there on August 29th at Baylor and you need to show. But I'm still one out of Vern's book or Gary Danielson, whichever one said it, or Rod Bramblett. You need to show to the college football world that you are back. You need to show that you are a team that everyone should be worried about playing. That is what that Baylor game should be. I predicted a close game. If you walk out of Baylor with a win, you are showing recruits that something is happening, that something is changing, the tides are turning, things are looking up for your program. So that's something that game, and I remember I talked about it when I said ranked the most important games of the year for Auburn. That Baylor game is getting more and more important by the day. The more commits you lose, the more recruiting battles you lose, and the more important those first 5 games become. Baylor, Ball State and South Alabama should automatically wins, but that Baylor game, that Oklahoma game, and that A&M game, those games are becoming more and more important because those are games that if you want to prove to recruits that you mean business right now, you need to win some of them games. You need to be competitive in those games. I would even say you need to beat Oklahoma, you need to beat Baylor, and you need to be dadgum competitive at Texas A&M. I don't know if you'll win that game, but if you're at least making sure that they are holding on tight the whole game, that means something. And of course, Georgia is going to be a whole other monster. And you have that cycle of games that you should handle business on. So that's my rant. I know it's been going on for that 17-minute rant, but with that, I mean, it's something that last year should have been a step up, but it was just a sidestep. It was, it's recently the past like 5 years of Auburn has been like 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. Nothing has improved. Nothing has degraded. It's just Auburn has been stagnant, and now is now or never right now. It was do or die, because at least whenever it was stagnant, you were at least recruiting well. Well, now you're stuck at a 6-win team, and now recruiting is falling off. So now you have to win now more than ever. And I'm not saying Auburn needs to win a championship. I mean, it would be awesome if Auburn was to do that. You flip a lot of guys if you win a championship. But 8 wins now becomes way more important for recruiting than just keeping a job. So yeah, that's my rant. 20 at that. Well, one quick little break. Outside of the break, we're talking about some Auburn basketball because Janai Broome holding out for the NBA draft. Or holding out of the draft. He hasn't been taken yet. So with that, we'll be right back after this quick word from our sponsor. From me.
Are you tired of having to rummage through just clothes after clothes after clothes looking for something to wear? Are you tired of your friends making fun of you for your terrible fashion sense? Well, do we have the shirt for you? Go to thewarreport.com, get your laptop out and do it right now. Go to the shop and get your very own Feelin' Loopy t-shirt as well as your college loop hat, and you can get both of them for only $25 each. Plus shipping and handling, of course. But with that, now back to your regular scheduled program.
And of course, you can find that merch on thewarreport.com. Go check it out. Get your very own Feelin' Loopy t-shirt as well as your college loop hat. Check those out today. And of course, want to support the channel. Best way to support the channel is, of course, by liking the video, by commenting your thoughts on Auburn recruiting, and just overall, is Hugh Freeze on the hot seat because of recruiting? I don't think that's the big question here. I think the big question is, can Auburn turn around what has been a very sloppy recruiting cycle thus far? So with that, going to go ahead and continue on with the remainder of the show. Won't be too long. So far, round 1 of the NBA draft is done. We're recording this afterwards. I was waiting around hoping Janai Broome was going to get called in the first round, but sadly, looks like second round will be the case here. I remember last year I was sitting here watching the NBA draft, waiting for Jay Will to get picked up. 2 rounds later, did not happen. So, but I think Janai Broome, I think he did enough at the combine to get drafted. I think he's going to be in the G League for a couple of years, more than likely. But again, with his age, he'll probably get picked up. I mean, the age is probably what caused a majority of the slide. I don't want to say slide, but him falling into the second round, as well as some other things I saw in his draft card. But full expect him to get drafted. I mean, I worked about 2 hours on a graphic for Janai Broome, just so he could get. I don't say just so he could get drafted, just so show some respect to one of the best players in Auburn basketball history. Just absolute legend. Gonna make an NBA team very happy. Whoever picks him up. There were some names that, I mean, I watched the full NBA draft just because I'm a Thunder fan, so I had to watch who the Thunder picked up to add to their championship roster. But yeah, Janai Broome, second round player. I think every mock draft I read had him as a late second round pick. I mean, it was one or the other. So once Danny Wolf went and a few other guys, I was like, yeah, well, he's probably gonna go today too. But I mean, it's better. I mean, had it been the same schedule it was like a few years ago, I'd still be watching the NBA draft. I'd be recording this video at 3 a.m. talking about where Janai Broome went. But we'll have to wait till Sunday to talk about that. So with that being said, thanks for watching some of the College League podcasts. Let me know what you think about Auburn recruiting right now. Are you a little bit worried going forward? Let me know in the comment section below. Of course, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm Larck again. I will Tank on Twitter, at Dylan Larck on Instagram, at your boy the Tank on TikTok. Go check me out on all the social platforms. Of course, give me right in the College Loop right here on YouTube. Again, like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, all the social media platforms, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, the works of the College Loop. Check those out because you get to see a nice, cool graphic once Janai Broome gets picked up into the NBA. Now, of course, don't forget to check us out, audio version of the show as well on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music. And now, with all that being said, thanks for tuning into some of the College Loop podcast yet again. And as always, War Eagle.